I started this sketchbook the same way I started many others at first. I would draw a lot, and I would feel very motivated. I was maybe even a little too ambitious with how quickly I thought I was going to get through this sketchbook. But soon after, I started taking little breaks, and then those little breaks became longer breaks. And by the time January was up, I was no longer so sure I was going to finish the sketchbook within this year. For me, it was a tale as old as time. And as you'll see throughout this sketchbook, my initial breaks were only a few days long. Then I'd come back and draw for a few more days. Then I'd take another break, and that might last for a few weeks that time. And eventually, the breaks would just grow to be months long. Later in the year, however, I started to make a change in the way that I approach working in my sketchbook. This allowed me to consistently draw daily in my sketchbook, which I've never really been able to do before this year. I even made a whole video about it. If you'd like to watch that, I'll leave a link to it in the description and put a card up in the corner so that you can see it after finishing this video first, of course. But because of this change, it meant I was filling up pages much faster. And just in the last few months of drawing every day, I managed to finish the sketchbook. It feels really nice to have completed it before the end of the year. However, this change in my approach also frequently changed the things that I would draw in my sketchbook, leading it to become something much more personal than I thought it would be. In last year's sketchbook, and at the start of this year's, I, for the most part, just drew things that I was obsessed with. My pets, fashion, robots, and whatever else I was into at the moment. And this was fine for when I had lots of things I was interested in. But that motivation would fade quickly and sometimes even burn me out. Now I tend to draw things that I'm going through, like taking a picture and capturing a memory. I'll touch more on this later, as the drawings at the end of the sketchbook will add some more context. Some of these drawings you may have already seen, since I've shared some of them already in a few videos. Especially in October, since this year marked the first year that I've ever participated in Inktober. I don't think I'm going to be doing it again next year. At least that's how I feel right now. I guess I'll see how I feel when October rolls around again next year. Inktober is actually what started getting me into the habit of drawing daily. Once it was over, I wanted to keep up that drawing habit. And it's at this point that my drawing started to get more personal. I'll probably make a standalone video about this at some point, but to make a long story short, I had been going to the doctor a lot over the last few years. After numerous tests, scans, and referrals to different specialists, it turns out that I have lupus, specifically systemic lupus erythematosus. And in my sketchbook, I documented some of the tail-end pieces of that journey. From being at a specialist's office, to being in the lab for more testing, to getting some results. In my sketchbook, I actually wrote down here that everything else came back negative, but I just didn't know yet that there were still more results that needed to come in. Yeah, it turns out I have a little more than lupus, but I don't want to get too sidetracked from the sketchbook. I drew the treatment I was starting, and I also jotted down reminders of more upcoming doctor's appointments. My sketchbook just became an outlet to get whatever it was I was dealing with out of my head. And so, to finally move along from the less than happy news, I'll be starting a brand new sketchbook very soon, so look forward to that. The very last pages in this sketchbook are drawings from my cousin's 1-year-old son. These are his very first drawings, and so it feels very special and precious to have them. And that about wraps up the sketchbook tour. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love if you left me a comment. I reply to almost every single one. And until next time, goodbye.